Total drama ships. Oh boy. We all know that the Total Drama series introduces all kinds of characters that we get to see interact with each other.
Some characters so much to the point that they start doing the little kisses with each other. Aww.
Now, characters and their relationships are a big thing in Total Drama and its community. A relationship between two characters can be a big plot point for a Total Drama season, while others can be more on the side of just fun to watch. Total Drama relationships can also play a big part of how much you like the characters in them. So because this is such a big part of the fan base and community, I thought it would be fun to look at some of the worst Total Drama relationships in the series, because negativity is simply just better. I'll be going through each generation of Total Drama and the new characters they introduced to determine which couples were the worst for that time.
I'm mostly going to determine these based on how much they add to the show, how good they are together,
how fun they are to watch, whether or not they make me want to gouge needles in my eyes, simple things all around. Keep in mind this video is going to be my opinion, so if you disagree with any of my takes, leave a comment below on who you think the worst Total Drama couples are. With that being said, let's get right into it, starting with Total Drama Island, Action, and World Tour. This generation of the series happens to have the most couples. Makes sense because it's where we see the most characters. A lot of these ships are beloved couples that go on to be loved for the entire series. They're interesting to watch, have a fun storyline, have a fun dynamic.
But some of these other couples seem to be a little more on the underdeveloped side and come out to be a little underwhelming or pointless. And I feel like the first couple I need to mention here are Lindsay and Tyler. Okay, before you click off the video and hate me forever, I need you to know that I really like Lindsay and Tyler together.
I like both of these characters in general, but the way this relationship was handled is so underwhelming, confusing, and kind of stupid. Lindsay and Tyler end up being one of the first couples to be introduced in the series, and they have a cute little dynamic together.
There's sort of a plot with Heather's alliance,
but we all know Tyler ends up getting the early boot in the first season.
In the next season, however, this is where the Who's Tyler gag starts happening. And I just think this is where Lindsay and Tyler started to become a little stale. Lindsay still knows and misses Tyler in the second season, and she keeps asking where he is, and by the time World Tour rolls around, she doesn't remember him entirely. I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of funny, but in my opinion, it becomes a little more annoying over the course of Total Drama World Tour until Lindsay actually remembers Tyler again. After Lindsay remembers Tyler, nothing really happens. The only nice moments we really get with them is in the episode where Lindsay gets eliminated. So realistically speaking, we see very little time with these characters actually together as a couple. If this is the case, why are we making them a couple in the first place?
It's such an awkward on and off situation, and oh, don't get me started on All Stars.
It is literally unknown if they're like still together or not.
I'm pretty sure it ended up being like a potential storyline for them to break up sometime in All Stars, so, but it ended up not happening. So it's okay. They're still together apparently. I feel like Lindsay just not remembering who he is in general, just like it leaves like a sour taste for the couple throughout the series. I wanted to mention that Harold and Lashana seem to have the same problem when it comes to this. Their relationship is really inconsistent throughout the series and pretty much falls down a ditch in World Tour. Oh my god. All of that development they had in Action just completely fell off in that season, and I don't know why. But of course, I can't talk about the worst Gen 1 couples without mentioning Gwen and Duncan. Their relationship is hinted at all the way back in the early episodes of Total Drama Action.
It also plays a big part in Gwen and Trent's breakup, which in my opinion and a lot of other people's, Trent's character was handled very badly in Total Drama Action. In Total Drama World Tour, Gwen and Duncan generate the infamous love triangle, and that just leads to Courtney being a whiny bitch, Duncan having the dumbest and weirdest motivations, and Gwen not being able to own up to her own actions in All Stars? What? And then their relationship in All Stars lasts for, I wish I was making this up, 5 episodes. It's clear for me to see why people were confused these two were a couple in the first place, because all it really led to was horrible continuity and Courtney completely losing her marbles. Gwen and Duncan, in my opinion, don't even seem to be that special together. There's nothing that really proves that they need to be together in this show. They're just kind of forced together like Barbie dolls. And it's hard for me to say or decide which one of these couples were handled the worst throughout the first generation. So let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are and who you think the worst couple out of these three are. Moving on to Revenge of the Island and Total Drama All-Star. And aside from Gwen and Duncan, between these two seasons, there aren't actually any couples that I flat out dislike. I think it's sweet that Sam, Dakota,
Hoda, Zoe, and Mike's relationships are about accepting and loving your significant other no matter the circumstances. There's also Scott and Courtney in All Stars, which honestly I also enjoyed. You know, I liked watching them both like each other. It was good for both characters as well, especially Courtney, because her grudge with Duncan was starting to get really hard to watch. It made a little bit of sense for these characters to be together. But out of these three couples, I still have to choose a worse one. But like, honestly, I don't think I can. All of these couples have their own problems and writing issues. Some of them may also be really weird. But if I absolutely had to choose one, I'd probably say Scott and Courtney. Probably because of Sunday, Muddy Sunday. You know, everyone's favorite total drama episode. Our favorite total drama episode. The way this episode wrapped up Courtney's elimination and her relationship with Scott was really bad. Like, laughably bad. That's why I'm laughing. There's just no resolution with this couple, which is such a shame, because all season they were like the least awful thing to watch, in my opinion. I feel like making Courtney and Scott hate each other again after they just made up felt super redundant, and honestly probably convinced a lot of people that maybe this isn't the best couple ever. But regardless of what I say, these three couples are still pretty good. But moving on to Pahkitew Island, boy, is that a different story. I'm obviously not even gonna sugarcoat who the worst couple is here. Sean may be a character in this season that I don't like at all, but Sky and Dave, I will admit, even though this is the worst couple out of the Pahkitew cast, it's kind of fun to watch and yell at these two stupid characters. Why do they even like each other? Why? Especially Sky liking Dave. Like, you like this guy? Sky and Beardo would have been a better matchup at that point. Like, Sky, throughout the entire season, sees how much of an immature, whiny baby loser this guy, and still likes him for no reason. I actually don't think she mentioned a reason why she likes him, or a good one at that, because Dave does literally nothing but be awkward and say rude things. Maybe this is supposed to reflect on how stupid teenager relationships are. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But it's no contest that this is gonna be like one of the worst couples that I'm gonna mention in this entire video. There's no genuine reason for these two characters to be together at all, let alone even like each other. I can get why Dave likes Sky, because she's probably out of his league, but it just doesn't make sense for them to be together. Or whatever, I think it's just time we move on to the Ridonculous Race. The Ridonculous Race introduces a bunch of team characters that compete in two teams. I don't know why I'm explaining this. You've watched the show. I didn't think this season would have such interesting dynamics when it came to couples, but they proved me wrong. They introduced a lot of unique ideas that felt natural to the total drama format, despite it being more of a spinoff. If anything, that kind of helped it. I don't really have much to say about these couples. They all feel natural and well written, and introduced some cool new ideas when it came to relationships and total drama. So honestly, I think it would be appropriate to move right on to the reboot. I can already tell a lot of people are expecting me to say Chase and Emma, and no, I will do no such thing. In the sense of whether or not they should be together, yeah, absolutely, they're definitely one of those. But this was actually kind of an interesting plot point for both of them in the first season of the reboot. Chase and Emma are introduced on the show together, and they arrive on the show already broken up and having backstory. I actually really like this. It gets the plot going very fast, and it made Emma one of the characters I actually found more interest in starting out the series. Right off the bat, she has an interesting story to tell, and you want to know more about it. And I think this story goes through the season in a way that reflects their relationship pretty well. Not in a good way, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I really like the way these characters are written and how interesting their relationship can be and how it affects the game. But as an actual couple, dear God, Chase literally doesn't care about Emma in any sort of way. But the thing is, that's the entire point of their relationship and their characters in the first place. In universe, their relationship is awful, but as characters, they definitely serve their purpose. So this is a really bad couple, written very well. Sky and Dave. I'm assuming people are also expecting me to mention Priya and Caleb, who I don't think are a bad couple at all, but their storyline dragged on way longer than it needed to. I get what they were doing here, but one, it was super predictable, and two, by the time the last 5 episodes roll around, this storyline is just straight up annoying. So I can understand why people feel sour about this couple. But as characters, I like both of them together. I think they had a really sweet dynamic throughout the show. But I think the true worst couple throughout the total drama reboot were Ripper and Axel. I thought this was like fine at first. I thought it was kind of cool, kind of cute, you know, whatever. But like, this just becomes Bridget and Jeff
2.0 for no reason, and how Axel acts in this relationship feels really out of character and weird. I thought Axel would do a lot more in this season after being such an early boot in the previous one. Instead, we were just given another relationship in the series that didn't need to happen at all. In fact, this was the only one that didn't need to happen at all. Bowie and Raj were already perfect, Priya and Caleb were the plot of the season, and Chase and Emma already ran their course, so it's like, what was the point of this? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but that's pretty much all I have for the worst total drama couples throughout the series. Again, let me know who you think the worst total drama couples are throughout the series yourself. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out the total drama discussions playlist that I have linked below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.